What is up, peoples, and welcome to another segment, another episode, another moment of the morning power talk. So this morning I got something really simple. I know I say that every morning, but this is a very simple concept, and it's something I think is overlooked once again. Oh yeah, don't be disturbed by the head wrap, the wave cap. This is just my daily morning routine. It keeps the hair down, at least what's left of it, until I walk into a public area, right? Can't walk around with my hair frizzy. But anyway, morning power talk. This morning, I want to talk about something because my son started playing basketball, and right now they made it to the playoffs, and they're doing pretty good. You know, when he first started out on the team, he wasn't doing that well. You know, he was struggling a lot because he's like one of the smallest guys. There's actually two little guys on the team. They're all the same age, but you know, every child develops and grows at their own pace. And him, you know, he's not that good at basketball at first. He's used to playing baseball. He's really good at soccer, really good at baseball. So this is his first season ever touching a basketball. So anyway, as we're watching the game yesterday, he was doing pretty good. Like I said, he started off really bad, and now he's really good. He's shooting the ball. The ball's getting to the rim, and the ball's now making it inside the rim. The sun is really bright, pardon me. So anyway, yesterday as he was playing in the playoffs, I noticed something that he was doing, right? So he would get so caught up in the game because now it's intense. Since they're in the playoffs now, things are a little bit more different than it used to be. The game's a little bit more real than it ever used to be for him. So he's out there, he's dribbling, he's out there, he's playing. And halfway, the second quarter, I noticed that there was something wrong with him. I noticed that he would get so caught up. My son would get so caught up in the game. He would get so caught up in watching the other kids dribble and watching the other kids play. Because, you know, every team has that one kid that's really good, right? That one kid that, I mean, he's just amazing. He's like a baby LeBron. So my son was going through this situation with him. And second quarter's coming on. He's playing really good. But I noticed that he was a little sluggish. I noticed that his game changed. Because what he was doing now in the second quarter is he was just looking at the other kids play. He was looking at the ball getting passed around, and, you know, he got caught up. So I had to pull him aside and say, hey, Justin, stay in the game. Like I will always do this. I will always say, stay in the game, stay in the game. Make sure you're paying attention. Make sure you're in there, right? And most of the other kids would do that too. They would get so distracted as they're playing the game. And similar to my son, so after I told my son, you know what, stay in the game, stay focused, and I started noticing that he was paying so much attention to the game that he wasn't playing himself. I mean, it just brought me back to what we do. It just made me think about how sometimes, I mean, we live in an information age, right? Where information is free. Where we have, like, anything you want to know, any dish you want to cook, anything you want to learn, how to make a website, how to graphic design, how to cook rice and beans, how to change your oil, everything. I mean, there's so much access today. And I think that one of the biggest issues that we have, some of the things that a lot of us get caught in, is looking so much but not necessarily doing. I mean, I know people that are information junkies, right? Beware of being an information junkie. I think that's the title of this. Beware of being an information junkie. Beware of being so caught up, so afraid. And the thing about information junkie is the fact that there's something underneath that a lot of people don't address. You think that an information junkie is somebody who just loves information. I just gotta know. I just gotta know what's going on. I just gotta know this one more piece. Maybe this one more course I gotta buy. Maybe this one more thing I gotta figure out. Maybe this one more widget. Maybe this one more app. What's the new app that I need for my phone to get my business up? What's the new situation? Who's the new guy? Who's the new speaker? Who's the new person that's really winning out there? And I just want to really warn you all to be very careful with looking so much, with listening so much, but not necessarily doing. Because 90% of life is you actually going out there and putting your hands to the pedal, putting your feet to the pedal, and putting your hands on the plow and getting things done. 90% of the game of life, 90% of the game of purpose, 90% of the game of business is actually putting your hands to the plow and getting the work done. I was talking to a friend yesterday. I was talking to Kevin, and Kevin is trying to get into the game as well. Kevin is starting a podcast. Kevin is doing a lot for himself right now. He's a fitness trainer. He's gotten, the dude came from skinny to literally, gaining all this muscle and doing all this amazing thing now. So he's stepping into personal training. About to finish school, I think. I think he finished school, about to finish school for nutrition. Forgot what he was studying. And then Kevin came up to me. Kevin was talking about how, man, like, he's getting ready to launch this podcast. He's about to put everything out. And I'm like, Kev, 90% of the game is just getting it done. You know everything. Here's the truth. The truth is that you already know what to do. I promise you that. Subconsciously, you know what to do. Out of all the things that you've gained through life, out of all the information that you've picked up, you know what to do. The problem is you're so afraid of doing it. You're afraid of failing. You're so afraid of failing that you're actually thinking that it's another course that you need. You think that it's another service that you need. You think that, man, it's another piece of information. So what happens now is a lot of you get so caught up on Instagram. You get so caught up on YouTube. There's YouTube junkies. Sorry about that, lost connection. So a YouTube junkie, like, there's people out there. Gary Vee talks about this a lot. He talks about these people who literally will go to all his conferences. They listen to all his videos. They know all his material, but they never do anything about it. And I just want to tell you to be careful. Be very careful, because you know what? I'll tell you this right now, that I'm upset that I put out my book this year. I got so upset. When I put out my book, I was so mad. And people were like, D, why are you so upset? You're supposed to be happy of your accomplishment. And I'm not happy because after I put this book out, I realized that I could have put this book out 6 years ago. I've written 6 books and only one has come out. So I'm putting myself out. So when I come on these things every morning and I'm telling you guys this and I'm kind of berating you in a bit, I'm not doing this because I haven't been in this. I'm not doing it because I don't understand. I fully understand. I'm just like you. I've been there too. And sometimes still there. Sometimes I've got to kick my own butt to get up and do something and get things done. I'm telling you, I'm so upset. I got so upset. I mean, it was a blessing that I put the book out, and it was amazing at the reception that I received and the love and the support I received. I was able to sell this book with very little following. As you can tell, look at my YouTube views. It's not that deep, really. But being the fact that I've implemented a lot of things on the ground level. You know, I've been doing the ground level of business and purpose and inspiration, the whole nine. I've been doing a lot of work before I got on social media years ago. But anyway, I got so upset putting this book out because the book exposed my true potential. Yeah, the book exposed my true potential. The book let me know that, listen, you could have done this 6 years ago. 6 years ago when you written your first book, the Waiting on Superheroes book, which is coming out soon. When you wrote that book and you wrote it so quickly and then worked on the other 5 books, I could have put this thing out a long time ago. But I was so afraid. I thought that, you know what, there's maybe one more thing I need to know. I kept sitting there looking at YouTube videos. I kept looking at the next thing. I kept looking at the next situation, the next inspirational speaker. I don't know. Whatever it was, I kept looking for the next thing and I never launched. I never put the book out. And I know people who try to be nice would say, you know, D, like, don't worry about that. You know, things happen in their own time. You know, timing is everything. And I respect that. But I think that's an excuse because I firmly do believe, because every time you go to another level, it's something that you've learned, right? So when you get to this level, you learn something in this level. In that level, what you learned in a previous level, you bring it to this level. So it's like a compounding interest type of situation. So what happened with me is when I put the book out, I learned a lot. I grew. I stretched a bit. I was stretched now. So there are things I didn't know before, now I know. So there are things I couldn't do before, now I can do. But the problem is I've stunted my own growth. Because had I put this book out 6 years ago, I would have been on my 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th book. My business would have been on another level. My mindset would have been different. My drive, my ability to take suffering, right, and perseverance would have been different. But I didn't do it. Let me tell you what I did 2017. 2017, I got business partners, right, which really helped me out. It was a 1-year contractual type of situation, relationship. And there's one thing that I decided to do on my own. I was like, you know what? Because I found myself comparing myself to people on Instagram, and Facebook. And I'm not a vindictive person. I'm not a jealous person. But let me tell you, you're human. I'm human. And sometimes you can take yourself there. You can get yourself to places that you're like, whoa, this is not even me. And I found myself comparing myself to other people, and I was getting a little upset. I was like, man, I've been doing this longer than he or she. Like, man, like, hey, my stuff has more depth, or my stuff has more, I've got more value in what I'm doing. And people validate my value. What's going on here? And I would get so caught up. That I found myself getting a bit depressed. It was like a 2-week little depression situation I got into where I was like, what is going on with me? And I realized that, I'm looking too much. I'm looking at other people's situation, and then I'm comparing myself to them. I don't need to know who the next speaker is. I don't need to know what the next business guy. I don't need to know that. I don't need to be watching Gary V videos every day and I'm not executing. I don't need to watch E.T. the hip hop whoever it is for you. Whatever it is for you. I don't need to know what the next thing is. I don't need to subscribe to a new YouTube page subscribe to my page. But there's not another piece of information I need from any of you. Now, some of you guys do need to be watching this. Some of you guys do need to be online, getting some new information, getting some new details and new business ideas and business mindsets. Some of you guys do need this. You're new to this. But the majority of you don't. You really don't. You know what to do. Like I told Kev, you know what to do. I promise you. And I told Kev something unique as well. I was dragging my foot with this book, Your Deathbed Confessions. How to live a life of void of regret. How to avoid regret, live a life of absolute purpose. I told Kevin that I was procrastinating so badly with this book. But what was amazing about my experience putting out my book was, for some reason, when I decided I'm going to put it out, everything kicked in. It's so crazy that everything I learned in the past few years, everything just was kind of downloaded in me. It's weird because it was there before. So listen, stop watching. Could I give a challenge? Could I challenge you to stop following some people? You know who they are. Because for me, I know who they are. There's some people I gotta unfollow. Not because they've done anything wrong. They're doing everything right. They're not doing anything wrong or being derogatory to me or anything, but they're hindering my growth. Because when I look at them, especially if they're in the same field or industry or they're doing the same thing you're doing, I'm not saying you can't learn from them, but if you find yourself looking too much, if you find yourself paying too much attention to what they're doing, you might need to unsubscribe. It might be time to unfollow so you can work on what you have up here, because you have a unique gift. You've got a message too, and your message can be convoluted. Your message can be actually intertwined with other people's messages, right? Isn't that what we all learn in college? What is it called? Work citing. I remember I wrote a paper one time and I got an F on a paper, and I was like, whoa, like I'm a great writer. How did I get an F on a paper? And the professor says that because you didn't work cite properly. I'm like, I work cited. I'm like, these are my thoughts. He was like, you think these are your thoughts? And I had to go back on a weekend to fix the whole paper up, and I realized that, oh wow, some of my thoughts are borrowed, and you just don't know that. So be very careful with that. I implore you, just get in the game. Just get in the game. Stop being afraid. You got a message inside of you. You know what to do. You are a marketing genius. You just don't know it yet. You just don't want to put it to work. Get to work. Get to work. You learn in working. You grow in working. Nothing happens outside of work. So stop watching. Stop listening so much for some of you. And if you are watching, if you are listening, especially to my things, come on, put in the work. Go do something after this. When you turn this screen off, go do something about it. Go implement something. Peace.